I love seeing something made out of something that was crumbling and not going to be useful. And I don't want that to happen to our city. I really think that we have an opportunity to use the minds of everybody, not only in this arena tonight, but I had this idea. I thought this would be kind of a sort of a starting point for me, and that would be kind of like have community gatherings, find out what people actually want or feel that they need. I would like to get some input from the actual residents, not just those who are homeowners, but those who are renters. And I would like to find out, what do you think that you can do in a positive way? I mean, we get together and all we hear is griping and complaining and how long things take and things like that. That's kind of really why I really wanted to get involved in this, is because I think it matters. It matters to me. It matters to you. And hopefully it will matter to our upcoming generations. A lot of that is going to come from education. And we need to get that education started way before high school. It needs to come in our daycare centers. It needs to come in our Boys and Girls Club. It needs to come in our schools. And that is going to keep people here because they are going to be educated. And I think the wonderful, thank you, I saw the light. I just really would like this opportunity to be of service to my community and to you. And I thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you very much, Linda. The next candidate I'd like to welcome to the stage for the position of Plymouth City Council at Large is Jennifer Fonseca.
Welcome, welcome, friends of Plymouth. It is an honor and a privilege to share this stage with all these wonderful candidates and to get to speak to you, the voters. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Fonseca, and I will be running for City Council at Large. Sounds so fancy and scary. And the more I read about the duties of this job, the more I'm like, wow, they really just let anybody do this. But really, this is the spot where we can actually make big changes. I am also a native to this town, born in KFC, or the hospital that used to be there, graduated from Plymouth High School in 2004 and attended the University of Northwestern Ohio that fall. My extended educational journey only lasted a year, funds ran out, so the next best thing was to find a job and move on up. Found a technical assistant position at a diesel truck stop, and after a few months of trying to tidy the place up, I was promoted to manager. But like all good things in my life, that didn't last either. I moved back here. Upon my return, I dabbled in a few different jobs before I found a company that saw the potential I had and gave me a chance. I'll be there 12 years this coming winter, and the improvements I make on a daily basis help keep the shipping department in tip-top shape. I take pride in all my work, as it really is a true reflection of myself. And I'll do the same if elected to this position. As I mentioned before, the job details are new to me, but there are a few things I would like to change with our town. I would love to see businesses in every vacant building on Main Street. I would also like to look into revamping houses and properties that are just sitting into affordable housing or other venues needed. I'd also like to see what could be done about the two large factories sitting silent, Del Monte and Indiana Heat. I want to help make sensible and logical decisions when it comes to the money we have and are granted. Do I have the background for this? Well, what kind of background? I grew up poor, was poor in my young adult life, and to be fair in this economy, I'm just okay. Growing up poor does make you a lot more resourceful with the tools you are given, and you have to make it last. So I may not have a technical background, an accounting background, nor a political one, but I know how to utilize the tools in front of me and make something out of very little. And with that, I'm hoping you all find the time to vote and help make Plymouth work for you with the candidates you see here tonight. Tell your friends, tell your family, vote November 7th.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Next candidate we'd like to welcome to the stage for the position of Plymouth City Council at Large, David Morrow.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Rotary Club, Max 98.3, and the Reese for making this night happen. I've lived in Plymouth, Indiana nearly my entire life. I was born and raised here. I went through Plymouth schools, and after graduating from Plymouth High School, I went on to attend and graduated from Indiana University's Kelley Business School. I returned to Plymouth shortly after I completed my insurance training, and that was 40 years ago this year. I came back to work for Morrow Insurance with my father, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. My good fortune continued because I met my wife, Chris, and we've been married 35 years, and we have 3 adult daughters and 4 grandkids. During the time I was raising a family and building a business, I found time to serve on the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, PITCO, where I also served as president, and the United Way of Marshall County. I spent about 10 years there, a part of my life. I was drive chair and also served 2 terms as president. I currently serve as Park Board president. I truly believe my business experience will make me a better council member if I'm elected. My business experience is with budgeting, managing people, and solving complex problems. My experience with the Park Board has has introduced me to helping with the city budgets. Since the Parks Department is dependent on the city, I work with Superintendent Height, the mayor, and the clerk treasurer establishing the park budget. I've been campaigning door to door since right after Labor Day, and I've met a lot of wonderful people. The 2 issues I hear the most, which is somewhat surprising to me, but it's streets and neighborhoods. Neighborhoods not. But anyway, regarding streets, I just want to give a shout out to Jim Marquette, who is our street superintendent. He does absolutely an awesome job. Yeah, good job. And I truly believe all our department heads are top notch. But anyway, I learned that the process of repaving streets is on a grading system that the street department has, meaning that the ones that are crumbling gets replaced. I'm getting the hook. Anyway, I don't think the grading system needs to be redone. However, I do think that there needs to be more transparency with the public and possibly public input. As regards neighborhoods, we need more strict enforcement of codes, and we need to hold absentee landlords accountable. I love Plymouth, and I know we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Next, we're going to welcome to the stage candidate for City Council District 1, Dwayne Culp.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rotary Club in the Reese, thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Dwayne Culp, and I'm running for re-election for the City of Plymouth District 1. Most of you are already familiar with me, my experience, my service in community, and what I have accomplished for the city over the past 12 years. Although our streets and sidewalks are undoubtedly important, it's crucial to recognize that we have other pressing matters that deserve our attention also. First, let's discuss the need to establish a firm consortium with businesses, education, and industrial leaders. Collaboration between these sectors can drive innovation, create jobs, foster economic growth, and benefiting not just our city, but the entire region. Secondly, we must focus on improving the neighborhoods and the overall quality of life in our city. This involves investing in parks, green spaces, and community facilities to ensure that every resident can enjoy a safe and fulfilling life. Third, we should proactively seek out a vibrant workforce by attracting and retaining talent. We can ensure that our city thrives and remains competitive. Lastly, it's an essential to promote the great leadership and support of an efficient and effective local government. Strong leadership and well-functioning public service are the backbones of this prestigious and well-run city. Before I conclude, I'd like to express my gratitude to the Plymouth Rotary and the Reese for hosting this event with Max 98. Thank you. Your commitment to our community is commendable in the organization like yours that helps us bring positive change to our city. In closing, let us remember that while streets and sidewalks are vital, addressing these 4 area keys can make our city not just functional, but truly exceptional. Together, we can shape a brighter future for our community. My name is Dwayne Culp, and I'd appreciate your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. Next candidate for City Council District 1, welcome to the stage, Megan Rogers.
Jenny, I might have you beat as the shortest. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. I am Megan Rogers, and I am running for District 1 City Council. I have lived in Plymouth for about 10 years. I grew up in South Bend, but I moved to Plymouth to be with my husband. He was born and raised in Plymouth, and we wanted to continue to live in a small town. We love the feel. We have family nearby, and family is important to us, and living in a small town is important to us. Something that's important to me is to be involved in the community that I live in. So I am currently on 3 boards. I'm on the board for Leadership Marshall County, Honoring Choices, and Aging Connections. And my work experience is with social services. I have worked primarily in nonprofits for my entire work history. I've worked for the Area Agency on Aging, so helping people find housing, find resources to meet their needs, nursing home placement, in-home care services so they can remain in their home if that's their wish. Right now, I work for a nonprofit that provides free and impartial assistance with Medicare insurance. And I've had people tell me or say, well, social services background has nothing to do with being on the city council. And I politely disagree with that. I do think it has a lot to do with city council work. I have understanding of grant budgets and understanding that there is not unending amounts of money to meet the needs out there. So you have to think outside of the box and get creative with meeting the needs of the people you're working with. And that's the same with your city and your community. So I do think having a social services background is tied into social or city council work and politics. And it's nerve-wracking up here a little bit. Just being honest. Why am I running? You know, I want to, again, that small town feel, being involved with helping people. If I do get elected, you know, there's a lot that I have to learn, you know, tax abatement, that's a big one for me. But I am committed to researching what is at hand and finding the pros and cons, what's best for the city. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you very much, Megan. Next, we're going to move into City Council District 2, candidate Don Ecker Jr. Don?
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Plymouth Rotary and the Reese Theater. We appreciate your support this evening by hosting this event. Also, Max 98.3. As mentioned, my name is Don Ecker, and I am running for re-election in District 2, Plymouth City Council. I've been a resident of that district since 1995, and I am in my 12th year serving this fine city. I was born and raised in Marshall County, and I've lived in District 2, as I mentioned, since 1995, and I've been on the City Council since 2011. In addition, I've served as a board member for the Youth for Christ, United Way of Marshall County, Plymouth Board of Zoning Appeal, Redevelopment Commission, Plymouth Plan Commission, and I'm now serving on the Board of Public Works and Safety, and the numerous subcommittees, Insurance Committee, and now just recently appointed to the Sewer District to address those needs as well. During this time, I have worked with the city administration developing and creating River Park Square, Rivergate South Apartments, new playground equipment for Packard Woods, which my grandkids love. When they come and visit us, that's one of the places they want to go. Bardwell Aquatic Center and development Centennial Crossings, just to name a few. I continue to work closely with the Marshall County Economic Development Center in attracting new businesses, supporting expansion and capital investment of current manufacturing business.
And my dad started working at McCord's, and my mom worked at the hospital, but worked KFC, you know. And so after that, we just planted it here, and we just live in the community. I don't know if any of y'all know where Hollywood's at. Yeah? Well, yeah, that's right, Hollywood. But yeah, so we were there. We've been there since, I don't know, about 30, 40 years. My dad still lives in the same house that he had built. And my, sorry, I was thinking about my mom. She just recently passed away a couple years ago. I'm going to steal a little something from Jeff, what he said earlier. It's like when I was younger, you know, everybody when they're younger, they're thinking, you know, they want to leave. You know, they want to go see the world or whatever, you know. MTV generation, you just see it, you want to go be part of it. Well, you know, I wanted to do that too, but then as I got older, I just started seeing Plymouth, you know, as an adult, through adult eyes, and it was like, this is a great place to live. You know, the communities are so tight. I mean, it's just, no matter where you are, I mean, Democrat, Republican, friends are friends. It doesn't matter, family's family. And so seeing that, it's just like, you know, that's pretty cool. I want to be part of something like that. And so I got a call one day from Shiloh offering, you know, to step up and run for my district. And I was thinking, yeah, that's perfect. Because I was just waking up that day thinking, there's something missing. And then that happened and just started rolling. And the more I look into it, and it's just, the politics is, it's going to be demanding, but I like to learn. And when you surround yourself with great people like all these candidates here, you're going to learn. So my final is, it doesn't matter who's sitting on the council, Democrat or Republican. We all need to work together for the community in Plymouth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to move into City Council District 3 with our first candidate, Shiloh Carruthers Milner.
Whew, I made it up the stairs, you guys. I have a good talent for falling upstairs. Just ask my husband. My name is Shiloh Milner. I am your Center 3 City Council representative, and I am seeking re-election. My husband is Josh Milner, who evidently is in the back there, not bartending, but we have 3 children, Timothy, Natalie, and Ethan. I own Black Cat Clothing in downtown Plymouth, where I specialize in buying and selling vintage clothing and online and in the shop. For 8 years, I worked for the Plymouth Park Department as the Recreation and Pool Director. I planned and implemented new programming, including the first Latin Fest that ran for several years. It was there that I learned what it really meant to work for the public. Until December, I was a CWA union member and employee for AT&T, where I helped many people, businesses, and municipalities with their wireless and communication needs. I would like to work toward more affordable housing. The question has recently come up about the motels on the north side of the city. I know that there can be a bad element there, but in many instances, those are people's homes. There are families out there that have $150 right now. So that means that for this week, they will have a roof over their heads. But what they do not have is a deposit and first and last month's rent for an apartment or house, because that is a lot of money. I understand that this is not an issue unique to Plymouth, but all of our citizens deserve a safe and nice place to live. I also believe that we need a more walkable city, sidewalks on Oak Road for safe routes to work, and on Jefferson Street so that those do not drive can get groceries safely. I love our vibrant city. I enjoy seeing the resurgence in our downtown. I will advocate to beautify this area to attract even more new businesses. These are all things that I hope to accomplish for all of us. I have enjoyed serving you for the last 2 terms, and I'm proud of what we have accomplished on the council. We have supported a new Boys and Girls Club, transitional supportive housing, and a city ID, and this beautiful theater, just to name a few, but there's always more work to do. I appreciate this opportunity this evening and ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shiloh. Next, for the position of City Council District 3, I'd like to welcome Andrew Atkins to the stage.
Hello, my name is Andrew Atkins. I will probably be your least dressed up candidate tonight. I came straight from work. So I work in Elkhart, and I am one of those that had to go out of town to find a job that could pay my salary that I need. That is another thing that Plymouth really does need. We need to bring in more jobs. We need to bring in higher paying jobs. And, just for those people that have the experience and have the education that can fill those positions. So one of the reasons why I'm also running for this seat is because I am one of those people that I want to be able to serve those that serve the community, meaning our police, our fire department, and our EMS. A thing that has been brought up to me by many family members, friends, and everything that love our facilities, that love our police and fire department, is that there needs to be an upgrade. We either need to find an upgrade or build new, and I know that's going to take some money. But being who I am, I'm a very good budgeter. I am a single income family household right here in Plymouth, and I have to budget on a daily basis. I'm actually one of those that only has $35 in my account right now until tomorrow. So it is tough, and I understand that, especially in this economy. And I know that with my experience and everything that I've gone through, that I know that I can make a difference when it comes to budgeting and for service. A little bit of my history is that my grandparents actually served the community, many with their businesses. My great-grandfather, Robert Atkins, started Plymouth Optical downtown, and it was taken over by Don Atkins, my grandfather. And then also on my mother's side is Glenn Anders. And a lot of you probably know Anders Decorating Service. So my uncle actually took that over. So my family has served our community for a very long time. And I want to be part of that legacy. I want to be able to serve the Plymouth community as well. So my name is Andrew Atkins. I am running for Plymouth City Council, District 3, and I would ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Now we will move into our City Council District 4, and we will start with the first candidate, Randy Longenecker.
Good evening. My name is Randy Longenecker. I am married to Michelle. We have a son, Austin, and a daughter, Catherine. I am running for re-election for the City Council District 4 for a second term. I have enjoyed serving you, the citizens of Plymouth, for the past 6 years. I have also been appointed on the Plan Commission by my peers on the City Council. When I decided 6 years ago to run, I chose to attend meetings to get an understanding of this position. It did not make any sense to me to have no idea of the position or what decisions I'd be making for you, the citizens. The decisions that we make are very important to our livelihoods as citizens of Plymouth. I take it very serious every time I cast a vote. I strongly believe you should plan ahead and understand this type of position before you jump in with both feet. I have worked hard over the past 6 years to make a conscious decision of how your taxpayer dollars are spent and to make sure we support those that protect and serve our community. The growth of the neighborhoods and businesses have made it possible to increase tax revenues. With the help of the MCEC, we could continue to move forward with more improvements. I support the city in finding a code enforcement officer. When we have someone in this position, they will have the ability to monitor areas that become or have become deteriorated and cause a safety issue in our city. I have had the pleasure of working hand in hand with many department heads in my personal career. I would love to continue to support them and help them in any way that I may and continue to ensure a bright and safe future for our community. I also believe as we move forward, we need to do so with a well-defined plan. We need to plan to maintain and grow our infrastructure. For if we move forward without a plan, we could be putting a strain on our current systems and causing them to fail. We must also develop a plan to replace our current first responder, street, parks, and cemetery and airfield equipment. It is more important or more difficult if we only react to a situation instead of planning ahead. We need to sit down and make this a priority. Some of this can be done in committees, but others will have to be done with a city engineer position. This is vital for the future of our city and its plans. We are currently outsourcing this service. Having someone on staff that can understand the city's plan and who is knowledgeable on our ordinances will help us to stay on track and on budget. I do not consider myself a politician. I consider myself your neighbor and your voice. I want to continue to be your voice. If reelected, I will continue to watch out for you, my neighbor. Even though I am running for District 4, I will look out for the entire city with my vote. I am Randy Longenecker, and I'm asking on November 7th or before for your vote. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Randy. Next candidate, I'd like to welcome to the stage for position of City Council in District 4, Kathy Huff Wright.
Good evening. Thank you all for attending and the listeners out there, and also for everybody who's made this event possible. I really appreciate it. This is way off where I plan to go, but I just want to say that it really moves me that we have such a diverse group of candidates running. To hear people who say they have lived in poverty, been hardworking individuals all their lives, and just seen all ends of the spectrum financially, and still get up here, brave enough to do this is incredibly moving. And I thank all of you that are doing that and sharing your stories as well. Anyway, I am Kathy Wright, and I would like your vote for City Council District 4. I do understand the responsibility of representing my district and city is not as simple as attending meetings and casting votes. I feel I'm the best candidate for my district because of my willingness to listen to the ideas and concerns of our constituents, regardless of their political stance, and to make decisions for our city that honor our differences while improving the quality of life for everybody. With a nearly 20-year career in human resources, office management, inventory control, and financial budgeting at a local privately owned business, I understand the nuances of balancing the needs of a team with the individuals and the business. My general studies degree from Indiana University was heavily focused on social psychology, and elementary education studies, all of which trained me how to better relate to community members across all ages and spectrums. My husband, Michael, and I raised our 21-year-old daughter in Plymouth, and we're now raising our 3 elementary-age children. I do need to give a shout-out to my daughter, Harriet. She's 7, and she really wanted to hear Mommy on the radio tonight, so hello, Harriet. My husband, Michael, teaches industrial technology at Plymouth High School, and he's also the head coach for Plymouth Robotics team. I'm currently employed as the Information Literacy Assistant, which is a fancy term for librarian at Menominee Elementary School. We're both active members in our church and our community. This is where we want to be, and it's the place we call home. It is essential to us that Plymouth be a safe, affordable, and diversity-embracing community that is proactive in addressing its deficiencies. It's our care and concern for others that drives us to take action within our community for those goals. My primary focus is creating and maintaining a cooperative atmosphere where communities feel heard. And there are plenty of opportunities for us to hear those concerns and address them together, especially housing, and that was my main focus, but I got the yellow light. So the needs of our individual families and communities at large can feel innumerable and overwhelming at times, but I think it would be wonderful if we could find ways to address our collective concerns with a strong team of elected officials, paving the way for a city we can all continue to be proud of. I look forward to your vote on or before Election Day and being a voice for your ideas and concerns. Thank you. I am Kathy Raitt.
Thank you very much, Kathy. So at this portion, this concludes our first event of the evening with our Meet the Candidates portion. We are going to host a brief intermission, but during that intermission, we are going to welcome Tony Ross to the stage for a couple of notes, and we're also going to welcome the president of Plymouth Rotary Club, Kara Steele, to the mic. But feel free to move around, grab water, grab snacks, grab food. We will be kicking things off in just a few minutes for our next portion of the mayoral debate. Tony, on to you.
All right. Can we get a big round of applause for everybody here tonight? This is our informational part right here. And have a seat, Kara. Being in radio, I've had the opportunity to work with so many wonderful nonprofit organizations that really make a difference. And tonight, with the Rotary sponsoring this event, I want to welcome in Kara, the president. First of all, welcome.
Thank you very much.
What do you think about all this right here?
I think it's fantastic. I really appreciate seeing this many people in person, and I know there's many more listening at home.
That's it. It's fantastic, and we appreciate everybody coming and everybody listening in on Max 98.3. I want to talk about the Rotary for a second.
Okay.
You guys are an integral part in our community, all
Thank
over
you.
Marshall County, not just in Plymouth, but you guys make a difference everywhere.
Thank you. We are a service-minded organization and been in Plymouth since the 1940s. And it's great to be a part of things that make communities better. And so we're all very passionate about that.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you guys do here with our Rotary.
Sure. We work a couple of times a year on big fundraisers so that we have money to give back to the community. One of our big fundraisers in the spring is a golf outing. And it's a great time to be together and have a lot of fun. But the money we get from the golf outing funds scholarships for our high school students and also gives us money throughout the year to do other projects. So if a group or organization approaches us to say, hey, we need some help. We have this idea. We need some help to supplement our program for our kids or program for people in town, then we can say, hey, we have money. Well, let's do that.
Well, and that's the bottom line. You guys take care of kids with what you guys do. How many members are in the Rotary right now, right offhand? I know that's a knuckleball kind of question.
Oh, that's
but
okay. We have about 20 to 25 members.
20,
for our
25.
club.
Like most nonprofit organizations, you got your steadfast people who
Yes.
are always going to be there come heck or high water
Yes.
that you can rely on.
Absolutely.
And we're looking for even a younger generation, and for some of you youthful people here, good to be part of.
Absolutely. I got involved in Rotary when I was 26 years old. And for me, it was an opportunity to serve my community. At that time, it wasn't Plymouth, but I got to be involved in my community and make changes and feel like I'm being a part of making my community better. And that hasn't changed for me personally, and it's the same way for the Rotarians in Plymouth. And we meet every Monday at noon at Opie's Deli, and we welcome people of all ages. If you're an adult, even a young adult, because those are the people that are saying, hey, let's make things different from when I was growing up for the next generation.
So what you're saying is if you got a servant's heart, come be part of the
You
Rotary?
need to be a Rotarian.
There you go. Thank you so much, Kara, for joining us
Thanks for
here.
having
and
me,
thank
Tony.
you for being a sponsor of this wonderful Meet the Candidates night.
We're thrilled to do it. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Let's give Kara a nice round of applause, please. All right, tonight's Meet the Candidates night once again here at the Reese, sponsored by the Plymouth Rotary Club, U.S. Granules Corporation, Max 98.3, the Pilot News Group, and Plymouth High School as well. Tonight's radio broadcast on Max 98.3 is sponsored by our wonderful advertiser, Culver's Restaurants in Plymouth. Culver's, freshest never tasted so good. All right, coming up next, we're going to have our mayoral debate. Once again, let's welcome back the boys.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much, Kara, for that. And just so everyone is aware, since we are live on the radio, we are going to ask our live audience to come back to their seats if they could do so here in the next minute or so. And Kara, thank you very much for sharing about Rotary. That was as much for the radio as for our live audience, so thank you very much for the interview. I think what I would like everybody to remember as we move on to the next section of our evening, again, is all the words that were just spoken by our candidates who were coming up to the stage and kind of bravely sharing what their plans are for the next year. Keep all of those thoughts at top of mind, because the next portion of our evening is for our mayoral candidates to come and basically debate with each other, but not debate at each other, but debate for the betterment of our city and our community. So if I could, again, ask everybody to grab their seats. We've got a bustling audience, which is great. We may need to give our timer light to those who are out in our audience right now to kind of calm the room back down. But I think the energy that we have is great, so we want to thank everybody for that. But if I could please get everybody to take their seats if they are able, we are going to move on to the next part of our evening, which is our mayoral debate. I'll take just a couple of seconds here and ask if everybody could please take their seats one more time. And I don't want to have to be the moderator that cuts everybody off, but a couple house lights to help bring that down would be great. So again, welcome to the Plymouth Rotary Club mayoral debate. We want to thank every single person who's here, but most importantly, for the next portion of our evening, we want to thank our two candidates running for mayor. But again, if I could ask everybody in our audience to please take your seat. We're trying to move on with our event. We're under a time crunch tonight because we want to get to all the questions and give both of our candidates a fair amount of time to answer. So thank you very much for that. If I could welcome to the stage both of our mayoral candidates. I don't think they need an introduction. Robert Listenberger and Greg Compton, please come up to the podiums and I will share the format for the evening.
Thank you.
So the format for our evening is a formal debate. Each candidate will be introduced and given a 3-minute opening statement, which has been determined by a coin flip prior to the event. From this point forward, we'll alternate back and forth to determine who answers each question first. And after all the debate questions are finished, each candidate will be given a 3-minute closing statement. The order for the closing statement will be the opposite of the opening statement. I will be asking the debate questions as well as the moderator for the evening. And as stated above, we'll alternate between the candidates to determine who answers each question first. For everybody listening at home or for those joining us here in person, the candidates were each given a list of topics. This is the first time that they will be seeing the actual questions for the evening, so that's why we're taking a couple minutes to give them a chance to look at those. But by giving them the topics ahead of time, we thought we'd get some fresh ideas here. And the questions that we came up with tonight are collective between the Plymouth Rotary Club and our community. We took a lot of time to make sure that none of our questions are designed to be targeted by any nature. They are non-biased questions, and we think we've done a really good job at bringing up some topics and questions that are relevant to our community. So the format for the debate, as we said, once a question is asked, the first candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. After this, the second candidate has a total of 3 minutes to make a rebuttal and respond to the first answer. And then the next candidate has 1 minute to make a final rebuttal and add any other remarks. Any further rebuttal at this time will be allowed at the discretion of the moderator. And of course, our timekeeper, Brian, will have the timing light system as well, with 30 seconds to the end of your time, and at the red light, the time is up and it's time to move on to the next candidate. But a quick round of applause for Brian Howard, who is our timer for the evening, a very important part of our night that makes it run smoothly. A somewhat thankless job, but yeah, very important nonetheless. So again, at the conclusion of these questions, we'll have a 3-minute closing statement, and then we will wrap up for the evening. Without any more time and to let our candidates get a chance to read those questions, the coin toss for the evening means that Robert gets our opening statement. Robert Listenberger, if you would.
First of all, thank you again, Rotary, for hosting another candidate night. Thank you, Max 98.3, for broadcasting the event. And thank you all for being here and all the listeners at home. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Robert Listenberger, and I'm honored to stand here before you because, yes, I want to be your next mayor. When I was a teenager growing up right here in Plymouth, there we go. Sorry, this isn't working for you. I get 2 seconds back. Okay. When I was a teenager growing up right here in Plymouth, my father, who spent his entire life building a restaurant business, said to me, "Son, never ever go into the food service industry." So, with that advice, off to Ball State University I went. I was planning to study business and education because my role models at the time were some wonderful teachers, administrators, coaches, and business leaders right back here in Plymouth, Indiana. Well, everything changed for me between the summer of my freshman and sophomore year. My father passed away at a young age of 52, unexpectedly. At the time, our family business consisted of one full-service restaurant and several Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants. So obviously, our family was in mourning, and I knew that my mother was going to need some help. So I chose to stay home, and that's what began my career in the food service industry. Now, that was nearly 40 years ago, and I am still at it today. And during those 40 years, in partnership with my sister, Mary Beth, we have expanded operations into multiple concepts, multiple locations, and multiple service types. I have led teams of up to 300 people, and I've operated as many as 18 different locations at once, creating marketing plans, budgets, and cost controls for each location. During the mid-2000s, we started a military food service operation, providing meals to the National Guard all over the country. Since then, we have been awarded multiple military contracts that has allowed us to serve now over 1.5 million meals to our troops all across the nation. As your mayor, I will bring that same commitment, knowledge, and business experience to Plymouth. I love this city, and I chose to stay here, and I chose to raise my family here, and now I'm helping to raise my grandchildren here. And it's extremely important to me that Plymouth continues to develop, thrive, and grow into a place where people will want to live and raise their families for many, many generations. I look forward to exploring how we can accomplish that one topic at a time in tonight's exchange. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. Next, we'll hear our opening statement from Greg Compton.
Again, thanks to Plymouth Rotary, and thanks for Max 98 and the Reese Theater, and thanks all the citizens of Plymouth. Commitment, experience, and leadership is what I want to bring to the mayorship of Plymouth and to the citizens of Plymouth. Commitment in my family. I've been married to Jennifer for 41 years, and together we have raised 4 children, and now we have 4 grandchildren. The church, commitment to the church. As a young man right out of high school, I volunteered to work for a year for the church. I was sent off to northern Mississippi, never been to Mississippi in my life prior to that, and worked for the church in a very poor and desolate area at the time. Commitment. Community commitment. I spent much of my adult life away from Plymouth, but I moved back here in 2005. And the year I moved back here, I became immediately involved in our community and the Plan Commission. I later became county commissioner. I've worked on various boards. Most of them have been executive boards as well. I worked with Junior Achievement. I worked with Kids Hope. I worked to raise money for Riley Hospital by walking the length of Indiana in honor of my father, who they gave him the ability to walk. And to the experience, I've had a lifetime of experience, from international to local business and banking experience. I founded and was president of HQ Computer Products in Pensacola, Florida. And Jennifer and I had this business for a lot of years through the 80s and 90s. We sold it in 97 to an international company. I went to work for them on their management team. They ended up sending me to Europe. I became the managing director of IC Intercom, which is a computer-related company. I was there 5 years and moved back to Plymouth because this is my home, and became a banker. I managed a bank here for nearly 16 years. And leadership, I've been a leader who has developed other leaders my entire life. And I've seen people who have worked for me who became managers and executives in other areas because of the leadership that I was able to offer. I bring to Plymouth commitment and experience and leadership, and I am able to lead this city as mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both for the opening statements for the evening. Just a reminder to both of you and our audience, the format for the night, each candidate would have a chance to answer the question. The first response would be a 2-minute time, followed by a 3-minute rebuttal, and then a 1-minute response to the rebuttal. Our first question for the night, the topic was your current term on city council, which was what provided to the candidates ahead of time. The question, which will be posed to Greg for the first answer, as a sitting councilman, what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment for Plymouth during your current term, both individually and as a collaborative group?
Well, thank you for asking that. And I can think of several things that I would like to address, but one that sticks out in my mind is the abatement situation that we had when I first became city councilman. We were giving abatements to industry and businesses that were 10 years at 100% abatement. In other words, they didn't have to pay taxes for 10 years. And additionally, they were also doing it on personal property. And I stood up for that every single time. And I believe after my second year, we started going more into the 7-year declining abatements, where we would do a portion of it would get smaller and smaller over 7 years, which saved the city a lot of money. And as far as tax income is concerned, that's one thing. The other is sidewalks. My platform is not just all about sidewalks, believe me, but we had this last year, we put together $463,000 to go towards sidewalks this year and next year. And we ended up taking that money from money that was went toward Blue Zone, which I opposed Blue Zone. We finally pulled out of that. We still have a budget for that next year, but we've used that money to help our infrastructure. And if we don't use that infrastructure, we're never going to get caught up with rebuilding our infrastructure in Plymouth.
Robert, your response?
First of all, what Greg's talking about on the tax abatement, he's correct. I think we're both first term, and as we came into the council, these were kind of laid on us pretty quickly right in the first couple months. And he's correct. We were giving 100% for 10 years. What we've done since then, though, is created, well, the guidelines were there that I was not aware of, and later was shown these guidelines. And since then, we've made big adjustments to the tax abatements, but to answer the question, since you voted me in on the city council, my top priorities have been Plymouth's people, growth, and fiscal responsibility. Now, there have been many little successes that add up to big ones. And for example, my voting record reflects 100% support for all facade grants that have come forward to Plymouth. And I will support those. It's important that small business owners who are investing in our city are taken serious. I've supported housing projects, which includes Centennial Crossings, Riverside Commons, and the upcoming Water Street townhomes, to just name a few. I'm proud that our city, and I think I've had a hand in this, is financially strong, and that we have been able to fortify the rainy day fund every year for many years now. One other thing that I have served on is we have a highly effective insurance committee in the city. We have saved the city money, and we have improved the insurance benefits for our employees. Those are just a few examples of support for people, growth, and financial responsibilities. But change and progress takes time. I'm excited about some of the things that we've started, and I want to continue those on, but I'm mostly excited about working full-time and every day as your mayor.
Could I
Greg,
point
your
something
1 minute
out?
response.
I must point out that Mr. Listenberger voted for every single one of those 10-year, 100% abatements. Every one of them. He voted for it.
True. Any other comments on the first question?
What's that?
Any other comments on our first question?
No.
We'll move on to our second question for the evening. The topic was further utilizing the Plymouth Park system to increase tourism and economic development. The question, which will be posed to Robert first. The city of Plymouth has a wonderful and sizable park system. With the Blueberry Festival being one example, do you believe there are any other ways to further utilize our park system with respect to increasing tourism and economic or residential development in our city?
Well, excuse me. I believe absolutely there is. It's a work in progress. It's an ongoing work. I have been working on this for years as a previous park board member, and I have continued to attend every park board meeting since I've been a councilman. Through my involvement with the Marshall County Economic Development Corporation, we have learned that the quality of life and the quality of place is essential to economic growth. And what better avenue than our great park systems to enhance those programs? Our parks provide greenway trails that connect sections of town, allowing safe and fun transportation. Soon, you'll be able to hop on a beautiful trail right here at River Park Square and go all the way out to north of town to the Culver's Restaurant on a safe trail all the way out there. And I have been involved in those all the way through the process. Our parks provide sites for special events, festivals, and sporting events. All of this not only offers life-enriching experiences to our own residents, but it also attracts tourists and visitors, which benefits the city and our businesses. And we already have some of the very best events in the state, including the Marshall County Blueberry Festival, Latino Festival, the Mayor's Month of Music. This weekend, River Park Square will see up to 2,000 children at Trunk or Treat. And next month, we'll be holding our downtown Christmas tree lighting and parade. These are just a few examples of things I've worked on, and these are continued and successful efforts to enhance the quality of life for our residents and visitors, and I am committed to staying the course.
Greg, your 3-minute response to the same question.
First of all, I think we just have a wonderful, wonderful park system in Plymouth. It's really incredible. You know, Centennial Park and the Webster Center and the various parks we have around the city. They're great for placed around the neighborhoods where neighborhoods can come and take their children and come for picnics. The Mayor's Month of Music is just absolutely great for our community, not just as far as the park systems is concerned, but also culturally, that we all get together and we communicate and we talk to each other. I would like to see the parks being used in each individual neighborhoods as well. I'm all about rebuilding our neighborhoods and belonging to each other, as I've said before. And I think we could create some functions that we have in the individual parks for each neighborhood and all the neighborhoods together, like the Mayor's Month of Music. I just think we have a wonderful, wonderful park system, and I think that's a good, attractive part of our community that brings people to Plymouth, makes it more of a destination, like the Blueberry Festival and the Mayor's Month of Music as well.
Robert, your 1-minute response.
I really have nothing to add to that.
Okay. Moving on to our next question. The topic is City of Plymouth First Responders. And Greg, I'll give you a second to get water there. So might be an important thing you need later tonight, you'll see. First responders are essential and play an integral role in our community. Recently, the Plymouth Fire Department unionized as Plymouth Professional Firefighters Local 5443. What are your thoughts about this unionization, and what significance, positive or negative, does this have for the city of Plymouth moving forward? Greg, first response.
All right. Well, first of all, we have a great police department and fire department, EMS. They just do wonderful, wonderful things, and I appreciate greatly their service they give to our community. As far as unionization, I was not in favor of it being unionized at all. And I guess my reasoning was we have, for the fire department, we have, I think, 16 full-time firefighters, and I just don't see it necessary bringing a union in to negotiate with the city in the future their benefits. We work and function as a great city already. And now, having said that, I'm not going to stand up and say we need to get rid of the union at all. I can see where that can create some camaraderie with other fire departments, but in general, I did not agree with it. I think again, we have great services in Plymouth with our fire department, our EMS, and our fire department.
Thank you. Robert, your response to the question?
Well, first of all, I am not afraid. It does not scare me one bit as far as the unions. They decided it would be better for them as a group. They voted on it, and then that's okay with me. Not a problem. I understand it's going to provide some best practice sharing, some more training. They have their reasons, and it does not scare me. I don't know what else I want to say about the unions, but I got a few things about the first responders that I've prepared. You know, in the last year, we've seen a lot of turnover, and we have taken steps in terms of pay, benefits, take-home cars for the police officers, and better uniform allowances. The volunteer fire department has also seen an increase in their compensation per call. Now, maybe our tax base doesn't allow us to match the bigger cities, but we have improved a lot of the wages, benefits for all first responders in Plymouth. I'm proud of that we did that, and it was an important step, and thanks to the committee that worked on that. But remember, it's important to make our employees feel valued and provide them the resources they need to perform their job safely and effectively. One of my thoughts and goals, I suppose, is to provide a bigger, better building to house all of the first responders under one roof. We've talked about this, but I will commission a study to determine the viability of establishing a fire territory. A fire territory will spread the cost over a larger area and could possibly fund this goal. And I want everybody to know, I am fully committed to supporting our first responders with salaries, equipment, training, anything they need to experience the job satisfaction that they so deservingly deserve. So, that's really all I got for that, Greg, or Doug.
The only thing I'd like
Greg,
to say...
your response, please.
Well, the only thing I'd like to say about that is I've never been afraid that we were going to have a unionization of the fire department. That's never crossed my mind. But it was just a concern of mine that I didn't feel like it was necessary. Never at all a fear. As far as we do need some new facilities for our fire department and our police department, and I have met with a lot of the volunteer fire department and the police officers and the regular fire department as well. And I don't believe that one building for both fire department and the police department is a good idea at all. And mainly because of the traffic. We have emergencies that go on all the time. We have fire trucks going out. We have EMS trucks going out. We have police cars going out. And I believe they need to be separate. They're separate functions in our city.
Thank you. Feel free, round of applause. We're going to move on to our next question for the evening, and the topic was accessibility of quality healthcare. The question, Robert, will be posed to you first. Accessibility to quality healthcare is important for our city and county residents. Over the last year, St. Joseph Health System has imposed significant changes to our hospital, including the closure of OBGYN, ICU, and CCU services. What ideas would you and the city team explore, if any, to address this issue and help alleviate the burden these changes have put on our residents? Robert?
Okay, first of all, the city understands how important it is to access both high quality and affordable health care. I have worked hard on the city's insurance committee to keep costs down for our employees. I know a group of leaders across Marshall County who have been regularly meeting to address the health care provider issue. And as your mayor, I am eager to join them. Now, we're all concerned with how Plymouth is losing providers due to the business decisions made by large corporate healthcare providers. This group of leaders has been successful at attracting primary care and walk-in clinics. We now need to focus our energy and attention on attracting the OBGYN, the critical care, and the cardiac pulmonary specialists to our area. Access to quality health care is a critical component of quality of life. It is imperative that we continue to work on this issue, and as your mayor, I will continue to pursue solutions.
Greg, what ideas would you and the city team explore, if any, to address this issue and help alleviate the burden these changes have put on our residents?
Well, this is no doubt a serious issue. I think last year I had addressed the city council about this whole issue and the concern about our services becoming less and less. My daughter, a few months ago, just had a baby, and she had to go to Bremen to deliver the baby because we no longer have that facility in Plymouth. So we have Bremen, we have Rochester, we have South Bend. And as a community, as a vibrant community, we need to be able to birth our children in our city and not have to travel long distances. I know I have two really good friends of mine who are working on committees that are trying to solve these issues, and I think they're doing brilliant jobs, a committee of quite a few people. We have made some headway with Lutheran. I think the Lifeplex is opening up as a facility to help serve our community, but we really need to work with St. Joe Hospital, or we need to bring another hospital in to offer the services that our community needs. It's a vital part of a vibrant community.
Robert, closing thoughts?
Just know that I'll work to find solutions, and that's what I do. And I have enough connections, I know people, and I will work at this on an ongoing basis. That's really all I have.
Okay, thank you. The next question is in regards to collaboration across local governments. Greg, this question will be posed to you first.
Well, first of all, I was a county commissioner from 2010 to 2012.
Greg, can I let me read the question before we get to
What's
your.
that?
Let me read the whole question for our just for our
the
guests
audience
here,
needs
so
it,
they
yeah.
can see the question as well. In 2021, the Veterans Parkway Extension Project had majority support of the then Marshall County Council and Marshall County Commissioners, but was denied approval by a 5-2 vote of the Plymouth City Council. Councilman Listenberger voted to deny the approval, and Councilman Compton voted in favor to support. Please detail your position on the Veterans Parkway Extension. Also, if the project were to be reconsidered, would your position remain the same? Greg.
Yes, and I did vote very much in favor of that, and I regret that the council turned this down. We had matching funds. We had the state of Indiana involved in this. We had the county involved in this to extend. Now, what we were doing is extending Veterans Parkway out to Pioneer Road, and which is an avenue of where industry is growing right now and will continue to grow. And it's also a place where trucks can get out there and deliver and pick up. I think it's a vibrant part of our growth in our area. The county was all in on it, the state was all in on it, and we turned it down. And granted, there's certain things that I believe in that are investments. I'm against spending money on this and that have no real value for our community, but this had value in growing industry, value in bringing jobs to Plymouth, value in transportation, alleviating some of the traffic on Highway 30, the roads going through Plymouth that have large trucks going on them. I was very, very much in favor of it. I was very disappointed that we didn't do that. And I feel like it was a responsibility we had to do that.
Robert, please detail your position on the Veterans Parkway Extension. And if the project were to be reconsidered, would your position remain the same?
First of all the county was not all in on it. And I did speak with county councilmen, county commissioners, and they were not all in on it. So, listen, until we have the determination, and I knew this was coming, until we have the determination of the Propel 30 and Propel 31s, until we get there, it's a study that's being done right now. It's a $22 million, I believe, study. It's a 2-year study being done on the corridors of 31 and 30. And until we get their results, I think it's premature to spend $1 million of Plymouth's taxpayers' money on a project that we may have built in a wrong location. We need to wait until this comes. Do I think it's going to happen someday? Absolutely. And I think it will be a nice thing. It's one of those nice things, but it was premature, and that's why I had to vote no. And I think the majority of the council understood that with the city. At least that's the way the vote went. So, you know, I've attended these meetings with Propel 3031. I know a lot of you in here have. I'm not certain that my opponent has. And if you go to these meetings, you'll understand. And there are so many, I mean, it's still way up in the air. They don't know which roads are going to be closed off, which access, which is, you know, so it was premature. And that's really my answer to that. And
What does 30 and 31 have to do with extending the you know, their traffic count and all this? But my opinion of that is weight is what broke the bridge down. We have industry being built out on Commerce Boulevard, and it would have connected that to Highway 31, and to bring the traffic over there so they can take deliveries. The county was in on it. I met with two of the commissioners right after this happened. They were highly disappointed that we did not pass this. They had been working on this for years to accomplish this, and it has very little to do with the traffic count on 30, although the traffic count on 30 is, if you go out there and sit and watch the traffic, you can see any day of the week, 24/7.
Only that, you know, we don't know if Pine is going to be closed off, or Oak, or even they put something out further. We could have built this and it wouldn't even access what you're talking about.
It's where the industry is. That's where Pretzels Inc. is. One of our biggest employers in Plymouth is Pretzels Inc. That is right at the end of where we were going to put the Veterans Boulevard. I beg your pardon.
Well, okay.
Per the format of the question, Greg will allow you to have that closing comment, and we will move to our next question. In the same collaboration across local governments, the next question, which Robert, first response will come to you. In May of 2022, the use of a portion of ARPA funds for the Marshall County Blue Zones project had majority support of the then Marshall County Council and Marshall County Commissioners, and was also supported by the Plymouth City Council by a vote of 5-2. Councilman Listenberger voted in favor to support the project with ARPA funds, and Councilman Compton was opposed. Please detail your position on the Blue Zones project, and would your position remain the same if this project was reconsidered? Robert.
Okay, so initially, people told me they were in favor of Blue Zones. I talked to so many people, and they were in favor, countywide too, not just here in Plymouth, because this was going to be a countywide effort. So what happened was we lost the countywide effort on this. And so now that we've lost that effort, I don't believe it's going forward, at least in the state that it was presented to. Now, I think when they presented it to the council, it was with the idea that we would have countywide collaboration. That's not happening, and you know, I was all for it. I wanted to be a team player with the county, but it didn't happen, and it's not happened yet. Now, since that's not going forward, I belong to an organization, newly formed Marshall County Collaborative Committee. And I am hopeful through that committee that we have better address our health issues in the future, as we need to have some direction, and we need to be doing something. Blue Zone had an avenue for that, but without support from the county, it's not going to happen. So I'm okay that it didn't go through because we don't have the support.
Greg, your response?
Well, there's probably good reasons why the county and some of the other cities either dropped their support or limited their support to Blue Zone. I am all for healthy living. I organize 2 walking groups every week where all of you are invited to meet me at the Curly Slide at 7:30 every Monday morning, and we walk 5.2 miles. I believe in the health of our community, but I did not believe in Blue Zone. And it would have been the first Blue Zone in Indiana, and I think we're touting that as being something special. But they were gonna spend $6.2 million in a 2 or 3 year period to hire 5 people and get organized with this $6.2 million and not buy a single vitamin or jump rope for anyone. After that $6.2 million, we would have had to support those salaries, or the county and the cities, and Plymouth would have to continue to support them. And we really didn't know what that was about. But we don't need someone going into grocery stores and tagging what food we need to eat and not eat, or going to the restaurants and decide which foods are the healthy foods and not the healthy foods. It's not going to work with our businesses that we have in Plymouth, and nor in any town or any community. I am for health, and I think we could put money toward our current health department, hire somebody to go out to the industry and businesses and talk to them about living healthier. Get them to come out and meet me at the Curly Slide and walk with me every week. I am a believer of healthy living, and I think all of you should be believers of healthy living, but I'm not going to make you do that, nor should I.
Robert, your closing remarks to that question?
Just again, it was presented to us as, hey, if you guys are involved, maybe, and everybody else gets involved, we can get something moving. And I think we voted 5-2 in favor. Obviously, the rest of other than Greg, and I'm not sure who else, felt the same way. So after knowing that, no, we don't have council or countywide support, I think it was a good move to begin with if we had countywide support. We didn't get that, and that's how it was presented to us. It was like, I'm okay.
Can I mention one more thing?
Sure. We'll give Robert one more response then.
We still have the money is allocated for 2024 and 2025 for a Blue Zone. I think there's $520,000 each year for that. As mayor, I am going to make sure that I want to work with the city council to make sure that we stop that, because we can put this money invest it into our health. Maybe we should put together some scholarship system to bring a doctor into Plymouth. We need to attract doctors. We need to attract to have the hospital to be able to deliver babies and things like that, and not put money into deciding what we eat and what we shouldn't eat. And anyways, that's.
Robert, per the format, one last remark on that for you, if you'd like.
No, I'm good.
Next, our topic for the night is tax abatements, which has come up already several times. But the question we'd like to pose, the City of Plymouth currently has 35 active tax abatements for 27 companies. To your knowledge, has a tax abatement request ever been denied by the Plymouth City Council? If none, is this concerning? And do you believe the tax abatement process in our city is sufficient, or is it too lax? Please discuss. Greg?
Well, first of all, I believe in tax abatements. I do wholeheartedly. I think it's good to attract people to expand or to build on what they do have. I'm still reluctant to vote on any personal property abatements. And personal property is if you get some equipment, besides a building, but your equipment to manufacture, which generally you would write that off over and I don't know if there's accountants here, 6 or 7 year time period. But we were, you know, when I first started on the council, we were doing 100% abatements for 10 years on personal property as well as real property. And I think we put a stop to that. I am totally in favor of the 7-year declining abatements, where over 7 years, each year they pay a little bit more tax, a little bit more taxes. It's a great incentive to grow your business. And I believe in that. I think we need to help our industry grow and to be successful in Plymouth.
Robert?
I have supported tax abatements, and I believe it's a strong and effective tool for economic development. But I believe also we need to make some improvements to the process. Let's remember, tax abatements only affect the increase in tax revenue. We continue to collect the current tax and only temporarily delay the new taxes. However, I do think we have given tax abatements in the past that were too generous, like Greg said. And I'm not in favor of 100% tax abatements for the full 10 years either.
But you did vote for that several times in favor of it.
Can I?
Sure, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I'm telling you how I feel now, Greg, and it must be on a declining scale. In recent years, we have moved to a more consistent guideline and with increased accountabilities. For example, when I meet with business partners seeking these tax abatements, my question to them is not about, well, how many more jobs will you be bringing? And rather, it's what wage and what benefits will you be bringing? I'm interested in the companies that are not just creating more jobs, but more quality jobs. And I believe those discussions have been beneficial to both the employer and the employees. Tax abatements are a necessity. But let's remember also that some of these recipients are also some of our best community leaders and supporters. They do a lot for our community. So I do support tax abatements with consistent guidelines that benefit the employer, the employee, and the city of Plymouth.
Greg, closing response to that question?
I just, you know, and Robert and I go to the same meetings with Marshall County Economic Development, and we meet with the industrialists, and we meet with Marshall County Economic Development, and we make sure that these abatements are being used for exactly what he was talking about, with bringing good income jobs to our community, and that we can collaboratively work together to create those. And that's the ability we have as the city of Plymouth and industry to work together to do that. The thing I voted against and against and against every time on the 10% or on the 10-year 100% abatements.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move into our next topic, which was given to the candidates, of alternative energy sources. And the question is, Robert, first response for you. Alternative energy sources, including solar, wind, and electric vehicles, have been a focal point in recent months in our community and our county. Do you believe alternative energy is a viable option for our city right now? And if so, in what capacity? Are there any advantages or disadvantages you feel are important to address? Please explain. Robert?
I do support alternative energy sources. They must be environmentally sound. They must be balanced with clear and strong ordinances that establish proper use and boundaries that protect neighboring properties. Within our city, we have this already. The airport, the wastewater department, school corporation, and right here in the Reese, they've all seen the benefits of investment in renewable energy. It generates income and cost savings. So, I believe it's important to keep an open mind, do our research, and make logical decisions based on facts. Strong policy and clear guidelines are needed, and I'm confident that, yes, Plymouth can benefit from it.
Greg, your response to the question?
Well, and when I was county commissioner in 2010 and through 2012, the turbines came into issue, and they were wanting to build turbines, wind turbines, all I guess south west of here, north of Culver, and extending over. And I stood against that, and there was a lot of things went into that. The big trucks coming in and driving on our roads to bring these big equipment in. What was an exit plan if these would fail? And none of these alternate sources can even come close to the efficiency of what our current electrical system is now. Having said that, I've supported the solar panels out at the wastewater plant. I think it's a great idea, and we have solar panels on the roof here, helping to bring some of the power and the electricity and the lights that we have tonight. I am against using up our farmland to bring in these acres and acres and acres of solar panels. I think it's still a fairly new process, and there's batteries involved, and a lot of energy goes into the production of these that might take up more than what it benefits our society. And I think that we have to investigate it a lot more. But I am against the farmland being used for solar panels.
Robert, any closing remarks? Our next topic that was provided to the candidates is in regards to the City of Plymouth population. And the question is, according to the U.S. Census Bureau data, between 2010 and 2020, the City of Plymouth population went from 10,033 to 10,214, an increase of 181 residents, or 1.8%. What strategies do you have to help grow the population of our city? And Greg, first response to you.
First of all, I am not concerned about our population, and I don't see a need of us growing our population with any kind of purpose, at least. I do believe that we need to bring good paying jobs into Plymouth, which will attract people here, which will increase our population as well. But what isn't shown in those statistics, I'm a stat guy, by the way. I'm into statistics, but we have the City of Plymouth has, 10,000 and some change, and we have a few more than we had in the last count. But we have a ring around Plymouth that almost equals the same population that's within Plymouth. And this is all part of our services that we offer with the police department and the fire department, and cultural things. You know, many of you live in the 2-mile zone, and you make use of the Mayor's Month of Music and the Reese Theater and the Wild Rose Moon and Heartland Artists. These are things that we build on, and we are building culturally every day in Plymouth. And the 2-mile zone brings people into that and makes us a vibrant community. I like the idea that I like our size of our community. Now, I don't want to see our community getting smaller by any means, but this is a safe, great place to live and to work, and I would like to keep it that way.
Robert, your response?
Well, this might be where we disagree, Greg. I think your downtown merchants would like to have more people living close by. I think the school corp might benefit from it. I think there's a lot of advantages to having a more population, but most rural Indiana communities have seen a decrease over the last decade. Plymouth, like you said, has remained relatively flat. The county has shrank just a little. All of my plans actually support population growth. Population growth supports economic growth. We need to continue to work with the Plymouth schools, Plymouth Adult Education and Lifelong Learning Networks to offer education and lifelong development opportunities. No matter how much you love your community, if you can't afford to live here, it makes it difficult to stay here. So we need to attract the employers who are creating quality jobs that pay a livable wage. We need to work with our health providers, as we mentioned earlier. We need to provide accessible, affordable, and high-quality options for our community. This brings population in. We need to continue to work on housing, and we need all types of housing. I will create a housing committee to evaluate the needs of our city and to recommend standards and incentives to increase our housing supply. If we want people like I do to move here, then they have to have a place to live. We need to continue to focus on quality of life, quality of place that makes people want to live, work, and stay here.
That's it. Greg, closing comment to that?
I agree with the results that he wants, but I don't agree with the premise that we need to do that by increasing our population. I think rebuilding our neighborhoods and bringing back neighborhoods that understand that we belong to each other and that we want to work together in neighborhoods and our community, and that will bring more business into downtown Plymouth. And I think we're off to a great start with the Reese Theater here. Look at the crowds that we've had here, and the Wild Rose Moon. What George Schricker has done there is amazing, and the Mayor's Month of Music. That's what attracts people into Plymouth and brings business to our local businessmen downtown.
Thanks, Greg. Our second to final question for the evening before we get to our closing statements. In your opinion, what differentiates the city of Plymouth from other communities outside of our county, and what makes Plymouth stand out? Robert?
Okay. Was this the unique part?
Yes.
Okay. That's a little twist. So give me 1 minute. I want to make sure I have my notes. So Pete, I apologize. I'm losing my throat as well. So
2 questions left. We'll close.
okay, so I want to answer it this way about what makes Plymouth unique, because that's an interesting question, and I do like bragging about Plymouth. We are a small city, and we have retained the good things people want in a small city. But Plymouth has always been able to pull off the big things because of its people. A few examples. As part of the Regional Stellar Designee in 2019, and despite a pandemic, we still move forward with countywide projects. Among those is this fabulous Reese Theater we're standing in here right now. We have developed River Park Square, a hub for music, small festivals, and other entertainment year-round to include the downtown Christmas tree lighting next month. Let's not forget the outpouring of the volunteers from the flood of 2018. This showed how much we love and care for each other. The flood was tragic, but the power of the community was enough to make a full recovery. Another thing, our city's financial position is strong. I think you can say that that makes us unique as well. Not all communities can boast that. And since being on the council, we have steadily built our rainy day fund up, and our capital affordability plan is quite healthy. And if there's ever been a time in Plymouth's history, it is now to bring it to its next great self.
Greg, your response to
Well-
what makes Plymouth unique?
What makes us unique is the people of Plymouth. And it's not just the citizens within the city limits, but it's also all the people that surround in our 2-mile zone. I think we've established ourselves more recently in culture with the Reese Theater, with Mayor's Month of Music, the Wild Rose Moon, and Heartland Artists. This is something we can build on and grow with. Now, our park system, I think, is second to none. And when I walked the length of Indiana, I walked through a lot of cities our size, and we have a lot going on for us here. The parks are beautiful. What we need to do is all work together to rebuild our neighborhoods, or put sidewalks back where they used to be, and get our roads back in good shape. And with that, people will start taking better care of their homes, better care of their yards, and make it a much better place to live and to work.
Robert, any final thoughts on that? No. Okay. Our final question before we get to our closing statements for the evening, as we're being limited here on time. This topic was not provided to the candidates ahead of time. And the question is, Greg, we'll have you respond first. If you are not elected, at what capacity would you like to continue to serve the city of Plymouth and its residents, if any?
Plymouth is my home, and I think I guess there's been innuendos about I left here, and I was born and raised here, and went to high school. There's several of my high school classmates here tonight. But I moved back here in 2005 and brought my family with me, and Jennifer and I did. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful community. I'm committed to this community, and I'm committed to its growth and revitalization. And I will do whatever needs to be done in whatever capacity I can do it after the election. And yes.
Robert, the same question. If you are not elected,
Did you just concede? Are you going to lose?
There is no.
I'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere. I love the city. I will put Greg on the spot a little bit right now, buddy. If I were to lose, will you place me on the park board? Because that is truly a love of mine. I've served a long time on it, and I will. Will you do that? Yes or no?
I'll
Yes or no?
accept your application. No.
There you go.
There's no doubt I would.
No doubt. Did he say that? Okay. All right. Well, okay. So, like the answer, yes, I will do whatever I can in any capacity. I'm serving on a lot of other boards outside of city council. I'll definitely stay on those. And I'll be disappointed because I love what I do, the city council currently, and I love the city, and I want to stay involved. I got a lot of things I'm working on, and I want to keep working on those. And that's why I need to be reelected. But to answer, elected to, I'm a councilman, okay. Thank you, Greg, for offering that position to me, but I'm not going to lose either, I guarantee. Go vote for Robert, because he's not losing this race.
well, thank you both for the comments, the answers, and for being graceful to each other with your responses. At this point, we will ask for your closing statements, which would be a final 3-minute as a plea to our voters here at the Reese Theater and those on the radio. And because of the coin flip, Greg, we will first start with your 3 minutes as your closing statement, please.
Okay. back to what I said in the very beginning, commitment, experience, and leadership is what I have to offer. I am committed to making Plymouth a better place to live and to work. I am committed to, and I think this was brought up before, that everybody asked me, well, are you going to run again after 4 years? Well, I don't know, okay? I might run, I might not, but I tell you what, in the 4 years that I am mayor, I will make sure that we do things that affect this city 20 years from now. And I'm kind of a firm believer in term limits to begin with, but I don't think we need a 20-year mayor or anything like that. But anyways, 4 years, and I will get a lot done and consider running after that. Experience. I plan to bring my budgeting and my business experience that I've had over the years to Plymouth, and I think I've already done that on the city council in many, many ways, questioning abatements and things like that that were just automatically stamped and sent on. I understand these things. I understand finances. Leadership. I've had many people work for me in the past who have gone on to become leaders as well. And we have a great team here in Plymouth, our department heads, and I plan to work with them and to bring a higher level of leadership with myself and among the department heads in Plymouth, that we can work effectively and efficiently as your servants. Government is to serve you, the taxpayers. We have a great responsibility to you and to this community to use our money well and to use it wisely, and I will do that. And I ask you for your vote on November 7th or whenever you vote, but I will make this city a great mayor.
Thank you, Greg Compton, for your closing statements. Robert Lissenbarger.
Before you start that, I want to thank Greg for running a great campaign and being a great sport all the way through from the beginning. I really appreciate it, Greg. Thank you. Now you can start the clock.
Now your 3-minute closing statement.
Lately, I have been out sharing my ideas for the city, but I have loved hearing yours. As I have said from the beginning, true leadership is not just sharing what my idea is for Plymouth. It's also listening to yours and making them ours. I view this campaign as just the beginning of our great journey together. As a team, we're going to pursue population growth because it's critical to economic growth. We're going to tackle the challenges of economic and workforce development to support our hard-working families. Employers need a workforce, and the workforce needs employees that value and support them. Without neglecting the existing problems with today's streets and sidewalks, as mayor, I want to invest in the drawings, the renderings, and the light engineer work to fix the old and build the new. I'll continue to strengthen our partnership with PEDC, MCEDC, and the Chamber, and the Plymouth Economic Development Corp. We have seen some success in housing, but we have a long way to go. And I'll focus and continue to ensure safe, up-to-date housing opportunities for all Plymouth residents. As a mayor, I will be the biggest cheerleader for our youth. I continue to plan the Mayor's Youth Council. I'm also going to champion arts and culture in our community. I've often said, and I truly believe, people and businesses want to put down roots where communities have a thriving arts and culture environment. Collaboration across the county and with regional partners will continue. Earlier this year, I joined the newly formed Marshall County Collaborative Committee, and I believe the interconnectivity of all of Marshall County and our neighbor counties is imperative. Now listen, while I have enjoyed being a park board member, on the Plan Commission, on the Economic Development Commission, a Complete Streets Committee member, and your city councilman, I will be more effective working full-time and every day as your mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking you to vote for me. I have a proven willingness to serve Plymouth. I have the best experience and ability to lead Plymouth. And I believe that together we are on the verge of taking Plymouth to its next great self. Vote for Robert Listenberger to be your next mayor.
On behalf of the Plymouth Rotary Club, we would like to thank both of you for your cooperation tonight, and I think we all can agree that the city is in good hands after the outcome of our next election. One final thank you to U.S. Granules, Max 98.3 for broadcasting this, the Pilot News Group, and Plymouth High School, and most importantly, tonight's radio broadcast, Culver's Restaurant in Plymouth. Freshness never tasted so good. We'd like to thank every single one of you for being here and for listening to us tonight. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great evening.
Born and raised in South Detroit, he took the midnight